Hello everyone, this is Andres Almirai from JNation 2024, and with me I have the pleasure to have Patrick Baumgartner from Switzerland. So Patrick, can you say some words about yourself?
Sure. So I came from Switzerland actually to talk about some Spring stuff, and Spring is actually like the main technology I use when we develop applications and so on. And so usually when I do work with my clients, it's basically like Java backend, some front-end stack, and also obviously cloud things. And besides that, I call that hobbies. I do other things like lecturing at the University of Applied Sciences in Zurich, and I'm very much involved, for example, as well in the Java user group, or run as well also some conferences. Yeah, that's pretty much about that.
As a matter of fact, I think that I know you from the Java user group Switzerland, which as opposed to other places or other countries, the user group Switzerland has different stops. Can you tell us more about how the user group works?
So in Switzerland, we made it in a special way so that we have like 5 locations run by the same organization. So it makes it much easier to basically like do the sponsorship, do like the whole administration of the members, and also organizing the events. So we have like events in Basel, Bern, Zurich, Lucerne, and St. Gallen, for example. And sometimes, and even during the pandemic, we also run some events online. So and that's, I think it's pretty unique, but it helps also like to reduce the load. And we have Ursula in the back office, which is actually like our power, our magic power actually, because she does quite a lot of work and organizes the things like the locations, the catering, sends out like newsletters and so on. So we, as the organizer of the event itself, we just can like focus on the topics. We invite speakers, we are there, and basically the rest of the whole thing Ursula is doing. So that's actually quite nice and unique that we have somebody in the back office.
Yeah, as I understand, it's quite unique in this regard, where there are speakers that have the choice to visit every single one of the stops, the 5 stops in one single week. It's kind of like a tour de Suisse, if you will, and in this Java user group in Switzerland.
That's very nice that you mentioned that. Yes, we have these possibilities, but I still would say it's not guaranteed, because like every location runs kind of independent the events. And we in the board have the possibility to talk to each other. And obviously, I mean, there are certain people or certain topics we want to show like in all the places. So basically, like there's kind of a voting going on, or like we would ask like who wants to have those people as well. And that's the way we do it. So it's not guaranteed that you can do a tour in Switzerland. But I mean, it's high likely that you can do like 3, 4, maybe even 5 stops there. And also like visit this beautiful country.
Yes, this being Switzerland, of course, there has to be a boat involved somehow.
Yeah.
But so coming back to the topic that brings you here to JNation, you said you're talking about the Spring technologies. Can you give us more insight on your actual session?
So my session is about like performance things in the Spring Boot world. So usually you see quite often on blogs or when Josh Long is talking some demo applications or Hello World applications which just run that way. And I mean, that's not even bad. But the question is sometimes you have like resource limitations, and that means like, for example, if you need to reduce your RAM, how can you do that on your application? I mean, obviously you can do some JVM tweakings, but there are also like tweaks you could do to the application. You can do some tweaks on Spring Boot or the Spring Framework, and there are like many other things actually in the Java world which you could use. I'd like to mention topics like Crack, like AppCDS and other things, and even like native images. But it's not only like that. So even if you build your containers, there are topics like using different builders with the build pack. So I'm really like, I like build packs a lot. And then actually I show the people like how to use a different base image, a different run image actually like for the build pack. So you can optimize on that as well. So there are like so many possibilities. And my talk started like 1.5 years ago, where I started actually investigating the topic. I started doing some benchmarking, and even in my talk I'm going to show numbers, so you see like in which direction your optimization goes. So usually like my line is, I show you how to start up your Spring Boot application in half of the time, save like 30% of memory, and even like reduce the container size by half as well. So that's basically like what I do and what I show with all the possibilities. And obviously we have like different workload as well. So if you do functions, if you do long running processes, the optimizations would be actually like different.
Yeah. And I suppose that these are some of the optimizations and some of the techniques that you're going to showcase tomorrow at the workshop?
Yes, also. I mean, the workshop, I will have the last session on the main stage today. And at the workshop tomorrow, people can experience, and we can even like dive into this, because like if you look at AOT, for example, in the Spring world, code is generated, and it's nice to see it at least once, like what happens behind the scenes and like what kind of low-level code is actually like generated so that the application starts up faster.
Perfect. So, so the next question that I would like to ask you, so what is your impression about JNation? Is this your first time at the conference?
Yes, it's my first time, and I love the place. I think it's quite, no, not quite, it's super nice. It's very beautiful here, and I also like the way how it's done, and also like how people can engage with the others. So it's really, really beautiful. I really like it.
Excellent. Do you have any other things that you would like to share with the audience of JNation?
I don't know. Are you referring to something special?
I mean, it could be anything you want to. It's technical or non-technical.
Well, there's maybe like one thing I want to mention. I mean, anyhow, besides being part of the Java ecosystem, I'm also like part of the software crafter community, and software craft is really dear to my heart. And I think actually like every developer should start at one point getting engaged in this ecosystem. So we usually say like that our craft was probably like the last one which was developed like around 50, 60 years ago. And that means like there is still a lot of things which need to be discussed, and we have to find out how we do things. And that's also what you see. And with the current developments in general, with the technology, but also how we do architectural styles, and so on and so forth. So I really want to encourage like everyone participate on the discussion, because I have a passion, it's about learning, and I like to learn from and with each other.
Yeah, in this case, I've been fortunate enough to participate in a couple of editions of the Socrates On Conference in Switzerland that you organize.
Yeah.
And also there is one version for family, the Socrates Family Day, which just recently happened, I believe, in May. And so for like any other on conference, for those people that are not aware what on conference is, everyone that joins has an option to speak up on any of the topics that are related somehow in the context of the conference. So you can just sit there and just listen as a regular attendee, or you can just be an active participant. It's up to you. I think that the best ideas about an on-conference is when you actually take up into, or when you have the best experiences probably, is when you actually take a little bit more of an active role so that you become an active participant.
So the thing there, thanks that you mentioned that, the thing there is usually like when I go to a conference, I go and see the talks, and then I have like to post-process everything I learned afterwards. So to take out the best of an unconference is actually the other way around. So you need to know like the questions you want to ask, so you get your questions answered, and that you get the best result out of these events. And I think also like we are very privileged in Switzerland with our software crafter community, because like we are quite diverse, and not diverse in the kind of like we have also like female joining the events. It's also like in our community we have testers, we have like agile coaches, we have leaders or team leads joining, we have software developers doing cloud, doing software, doing embedded stuff. So and even I recently got in touch with one who could help me to bring like the last group of people to the event. It's about UX and design, because these people are still missing. But I think like compared to all the other Socrates which exist, we are like probably like the most diverse in kind of like the roles we have in IT, and that's really lovely, because we get together, we talk about the topic, and you get all these different perspectives.
Right. So there are events in UK,
Germany,
Germany,
France,
Switzerland,
Canaries, basically like Canada, so in so many places, yeah.
I'm not so sure if there are any events in Portugal. That would be great to see if there could be a chapter of Socrates in Portugal, so those people that live in Lisbon, Coimbra, and Porto could have a much closer experience. But if for whatever reason there is none, you still have choices. If you can travel to these other places that we have mentioned, do take the opportunity, not only come to JNation, but also take the opportunity to participate in these community-led events like Socrates.
Exactly, and the fun thing is actually that there are people traveling between the different conferences. So there are people saying, actually, I want to visit this year like 3 Socrates unconferences, and they go to the different places. And we think of these like, when you think of woodworkers, for example, they used to have this kind of thing, like they call it journeyman. I'm a journeyman going out for 2 years, going to different places, learn different skills from other employers. And we see these Socrates events as the same, because like your local community gets exposed through a person to another community, so they can bring in the ideas from your local community and they will bring back ideas as well. So you're also kind of traveling between different places, and so we basically cross-pollinate the different local groups with ideas which are very diverse as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Patrick, and thank you everybody else for watching, and we'll see you next.